Like now.
We sons of Grungi may have drunk deep from the bitter waters of misfortune, but we yet survive. Whilst a single dwarf draws breath, we will fight the evils that assail us, and we will never, ever give up.
Lovely. Not at all dramatic. Just very casual, very laid back, which is exactly what I think about Lewis all of the time. Hope you're all doing well. We're here for episode 38 of the podcast. So yeah, we're back. Since the last time, obviously we talked about Saffron Slam. I was gonna go, I got ill. There's been
That
scuttlebutt
time.
about you banning Cathay. So, we'll have to address that one, I'm sure, because it's spurious rumours, not at all true. But then I went to an event, which I won, and I'm going to do more of a breakdown on Thursday. I think I'll do a full video on that one. But yeah, we got 2 events to talk about, which is exciting stuff. And
That we do.
yeah, apart from the events, how have you been?
Yes, been very well. Been very well. I've just saying just before we came on stream, I went to see my favourite football team, Ipswich, at the on Friday. Normally, get enough time to go to maybe 1 or 2 games a season, and usually we're like losing like 3-0 to Doncaster or something. But
Mm.
I chose the right one, and we won 5-0 against Sheffield, so it was very exciting. And I was very glad that was the game I've picked for this half of the year. So
Absolutely. What league are
it's been
Ipswich
an
in?
interesting few years to be an Ipswich fan. So that was good. That felt cathartic.
Yeah.
To watch us smash someone.
What league are Ipswich in? Are they in an actual
Uh,
league, or are they
we are in an actual league. Piss off.
amazing?
We are a solid championship team. We had a dalliance in the Premier League last year that didn't end well. So this on Friday was our first league win at home this year. So glad to be back in a league that's a bit more our level.
Pretty early in the season, though, right? We should probably
Yes.
move on. So
Yeah.
I think people probably not here to talk about football, and I regret asking. I shouldn't have done that. My fault there. Anyway, moving on.
How are you, Ed? Anyway, you're all right. You're laden with another trophy, I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find someone to start putting them. Because I always win. That's the thing.
That
Can't
is
be
the
coming
thing.
second at events. Not a thing that I do. Not something that I'm known for. So funny story. Let's have a little bit of a rant about that. A comedy rant, not a real rant. But so I submitted the wrong list for an event, and then went and played with the wrong list, and I came second. And I don't think it made a difference to how I did. But at that point, the internal joke in the VIP section of the Discord was that I come second a lot of events, which wasn't true. But, it was funny, so why not? This has now spread to the point where Square-Based, you may know as the largest Old World channel, put up a review of Tomb Kings, an unrelated review of Tomb Kings, and in the first 5 minutes, they're rinsing me for always coming second at events. Not factually correct, but it's like, all right, sure, that's funny. I like that. I don't mind laughing at myself. That's very good.
It's spreading.
Oh, I've posted the wrong list. Apparently, I'll have to fix that one in a second.
People will find it. Yeah.
Then all weekend for 2 days, I just had people telling me, like, making the same, like, oh, you're gonna come second. Which, I'll be honest, by the end of day, what was it, like day 2, I was pretty bored of. I don't mind the humor, but it was just people making the same pretty crap joke repeatedly. I was like, I mean, I might have had enough of this by now. Not to say people can't say it, but like for two whole days, just that was all that I got. I was like, I'm all right.
Did you give a dramatic exit after you won? Was it like "fuck you, suckers" and you threw yourself out the window or something?
No, nothing like that at all. Just yeah, just one. Smiled, shook hands, kissed babies, did the politician wave. I think I might
Pretty smug expression.
I think I might have told the crowd to fuck themselves or something like that. in a good-natured way. Obviously Steve was there, Ginger Steve, friend of the channel. And I had to make sure that everyone knew he was my friend, because we were doing that British thing of two people who like each other interact in a way where you think they might actually hate each other. So there were a couple of times that we had to clarify to people nearby that actually, no, we do like each other. This is all in good fun. And yeah, it's not just both of us being really rude to each other. But yeah, it was a good weekend. I enjoyed it. It was nice.
Fantastic. No, great stuff. Yeah, I'm going to the next one in October, which I'm very much looking forward to. So it's been a while since I've been to an event of my own, so looking forward to it.
Yeah. Are you going to is it a 2K or a 2.6K?
Oh, I have no idea. I hope it's 2K
out.
because I was going to bring the Undead Bretonnians, but if it's 2.6, I will have to bring the vampires.
Just paint some more models. You got some time. Got a whole month.
Could just paint some more models, but that would delay an already heavily delayed Cathay progress. In the last 6 weeks, I have successfully built 2 Jade Warriors. So at that rate, in about 2080, I'll have the army finished.
At which point they will have new models, so you'll have to add to them, which is, a whole thing. Is it the one 11th, 12th October? That's a 2,000 point
That's
event.
The one. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, about 84 people in the chat have now said it's 2K, so I've got the message.
Sweet.
Undead Bretonnians are coming.
Perfect. All right. Well, we didn't do the hello. I got a bit distracted there. Hope you're all doing well. Here for episode 38, going to be talking about a couple of events that we've done. If you haven't already, give the stream a like, a thumbs up. Helps us get picked up in the algorithm, which helps given that I forgot to post the link to the stream. And then while we were talking, posted the wrong link twice. So we're now up and running and hopefully people will start trickling in. Other than that, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member. Links underneath the video there. If you're a member of Longbeard or above, there is access to the Discord in the VIP section, so make sure that you post in Needs role so I can apply that role for you correctly. And yeah, obviously do coaching, which has been going very well. Just did a good coaching session before this stream, doing some coaching with WTC players. So no matter what level that you want to play from, I'm sure we can find some value there in the coaching. I'm happy to work with people of all abilities. I think that's all the plugs I need to do.
You should get all of your trophies. You should make a cabinet that sits behind you, just with all your trophies. So when you're coaching,
I had space. I live in a shoebox is the problem. Hence why I've got this crappy green screen behind me instead of like an actual nice background. But hopefully I can resolve that at some point.
One day.
We'll see.
If everyone could just join the channel and give Ed lots of money, that'd be great. And he can move out of the shoebox.
Do not feel obliged to do so. It's the problem is like being a YouTuber, your business relies on you asking people for money, but being British, I'm uncomfortable doing that. So right in the middle line in the middle is like, we'll find something. Christian says, to be fair, in the Tomb King deep dive, Val said you were his favourite winner of the tournament. He did say that. That was very nice. I did appreciate that.
Oh,
I was only bringing it up for the comedy rant that I could have in terms of being second place. But it has now spread. It wasn't just. I'm already back on complaining about this. It wasn't just in the event. It wasn't just the 20 people at the event. It was also in the group chat where there's like, I don't know, a couple of hundred people, and just like, it felt like every couple of hours there's another message being like, oh, was Ed come second, ha ha ha, or that's a second place army, or that's a second place
after game train. 1 as well. I was like, it was still 4 games away from the end.
yeah, it was but we'll talk more about it later on in another video, not the second placeness, but the actual event itself. Yes. You've been doing some hobby. I've been doing some hobby as well, because I've had to paint for an event. But do you want to talk about your hobby update?
Yes, I've been doing some things that are exciting and some things that just really aren't exciting. So a little known part of being a tournament organizer is terrain maintenance. That's new stuff. That'll be up in a minute. I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
I have spent literally all weekend going through every box of terrain that I have, taking all of the individual pieces out. And bear in mind, that's 30 boxes of terrain, because I've got terrain boxes for 40k as well as Old World, and you need a lot of terrain for 40k. Taking every single individual piece out of 30 boxes of terrain, checking them all, repairing damage, repainting bits, sticking stuff back on, and then putting it all back in the box again. So I feel like I've done a whole weekend of hobby, but achieved nothing. But it does mean that for a big 40k event in a couple of weeks' time, it's going to be all looking hopefully in good condition. And I did manage to get through like 5 episodes of Critical Role, so I'm very D&D'd out over the end of this weekend. So, but it felt like it was good, and that has now freed up some space in the area for our new terrain, which has started to arrive, which I'm really excited to share. Got a couple of photos of our Aztec-y sort of sets of terrain. So I've asked my terrain guy, it's Pumpernickel Games, check him out, it's amazing stuff that he does, really reasonably priced on Etsy, all comes ready painted, ready to go, and it's just amazing, much higher quality than I could ever produce myself. But I've asked him to do me 4 sets of terrain that sort of matches the guidance in the TSN terrain pack. So if anyone that hasn't been to one of Rob's events, he has like set terrain layouts for each game, and you deploy the terrain on the board in a certain way that they've obviously spent a lot of time working out roughly where the terrain should go to give the sort of most balanced experience. And what I've always done in 40k events is have that sort of balanced terrain on my top couple of tables, so that the players that are there to try and do well can not have to worry about being on fun terrain that's doing silly things. But I wanted to, obviously, I don't want it to be rubbish terrain. I still want it to look absolutely amazing. And yeah, so the first set that we've got ready from Pumpernickel is this Aztec set. So we've got some really cool like jungle forest pieces. There should be some photos of like these ziggurat sort of Aztec lizardmen style sort of new world pieces of terrain, which I just think just look amazing. They're going to be the sort of impassable bits that are like they're sort of buildings, but they're not buildings you can go in, and some really cool hills. And I've spent some time going backwards and forwards with Kieran at Pumpernickel about like the angle of hills where stuff doesn't roll off and things like that. You can place units on it and things like that should work. And we've had some sort of trial hills at the club in Saffron, so I think we're there now with our hill design that works for Old World. So I'm really excited. That should all be with me over the next couple of weeks, so in plenty of time for the teams event in November. So and hopefully I should have 4 different sets. He's also almost finished. There's no photos of it yet, but he's almost finished like an undead style. It's like a ruined empire building with like loads of skulls, and the hills are like big graveyards and things like that. So that's going to be really cool as well. So I'm just genuinely super excited for when that comes out. He's going to do me a Tomb King set as well, and then like a traditional sort of castle-y set. So that should mean that even those players playing at the top on the balanced terrain should still be playing a really sort of cinematic, looks incredible, that sort of style board. So yeah, really happy with that. I think it's going to look amazing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I have strong opinions about your 40k terrain, and have talked about it on stream. I don't like it. I just want it all to be, UKTC.
You want the L?
I just want to play efficient maths if I'm playing 40k. I no longer play 40k. I think your terrain works really well for Old World. Like, I don't feel particularly hard done by. When I was planning on bringing the Green Knight, I just shot you a message like, hey, not all of your boards have woods. What do you do? It's like, oh, just randomly determine 2 bits of terrain. And, those are the Green Knight ones. So, yeah, I think your terrain works really well for Old World. And this is a nice set there that you got. I'm a fan of some more variety.
Yeah, it should be really cool.
You say you get
has
your
a flavour in the chat. Not enough L-shaped ruins for my tastes.
Absolutely. You say that there's a Tomb King set coming. There's already a couple of like deserty themed pieces. So are they going to be distinctly different to the current?
Yeah, they will be. So they'll be looking like this, in that the hills will be like cool like sand dunes, and the woods will probably be sort of maybe like desert cactuses and things like that. And then the buildings will be more like.
When I think of Tomb Kings, it's cactus.
Yeah, well, I'm going for like a desert theme. So, but we also, because you need the woods, because in the TSN terrain pack they have forests. You don't really have forest in the desert. So the best thing I think we can come up with is cactuses. But shoot me if there's a better suggestion in the chat. Let me know, because he's not started on those yet. And then the buildings, the impassable blocks, will be like Egyptian pyramid style things. Whereas the terrain set that I've already got, that's like a desert themed one, has got like, they're like columns, they're like obelisks and things like that, and then some like big tomb buildings that are like big square buildings with like a tunnel through the middle of it, so it doesn't look quite the same. So it should. I'm hoping look distinct. Obviously, it'll be another desert board, but we've got enough Tomb Kings players nowadays that they always get excited when they play on a board that matches their army.
Goldfire suggests an Oasis. That would be a wood and a water.
Yeah, that would be quite cool. Yeah, an Oasis is a good shout. I'm just going to make a note of that. you entertain everyone, Ed.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's my role, isn't it? You're here to bring pictures of terrain, and I'm here to be the interesting one.
That sounds
moving on. So terrain, great stuff. Love that. Looks like you've played some games with the Undead Bretonnians as well. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. Everyone's been sort of pestering me, saying when are the Undead Bretonnians coming out, and I was like, oh well, I quite like doing well, and I've not definitely got a very good Bretonnian list. It's just loads of Knights of the Realm, so just in any kind of competitive setting, it's just going to be crap. But It's going to look really cool, as per this image. If I do say so myself, managed to get down to the club last week and we had a couple of new players in. One person who's not bought any models yet and has not played any Old World, and one guy that has put 1,000 points of High Elves together. So I played into the High Elves with my Undead Bretonnians. Turns out, Ed, leadership and morale and panic are a thing in this game.
Yep.
Having basically exclusively played Undead up until now, that's not something I'd really kind of factored into my plans. So when basically 600 points out of that 1,000 points all ran off the board all at the same turn, I was a bit like, oh, okay.
That's pretty rough.
I guess I can't just expect like a chain panic not to happen. I may need to factor that into my list design in future.
Yeah, I mean, BSB would be nice. You can get a BSB for free. You have to pay for the Paladin, but Bretonnians specifically don't have to pay for the BSB. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, definitely worth slotting in if you're worried about panic. I just play better and not have to take all
run a better list, take Pegasus Knights.
No, BSBs are really good. I take a BSB with my Bretonnians because they can carry a banner, and Bretonnians just have some really good banners. Shalon's Honourable Warfare, the other one.
The Vanguard one.
No, I'm thinking of the Errantry banner that gives you +1 strength for the charge. Now that's tied to you having veterans, so you can re-roll the impetuous test. So if you're playing Grand Army, that's no good. But those are all really good, and they've got some other good banners in there as well. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I did a little 500-point game against that guy who didn't have any models either. He used his friend's High Elves and got horribly slaughtered then as well. When his wizard managed to cast a fireball on 6/6 and then got like 11 hits and annihilated all 6 Knights of the Realm and basically most of the Duke in that unit in one shot. I was like, okay, cool. He's like, I like this game. I was like, yeah, welcome to Old World.
I bet you do. Just running over you entirely. Oh, this is pretty good. This is. Yeah, no, it feels good.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. But no, it's good. I think it's always like if you're playing new players, I think focusing on them having the best time possible rather than how you're playing the game is like, in my opinion, the most important thing. So could I have made better decisions? Probably. Could I have written a better list? Absolutely. But actually, would
and that had nothing to do with the fact that you were playing a new player?
Yeah. Like would they have enjoyed it as much had I done that? And probably not. So
no, it's the classic. It's like all drugs and Warhammer. The first one's free, and then after that you got to pay for it. So
next week I'm going to crush his dreams.
Absolutely.
I'm
and
just
then
going to bring all Brave Guard.
Have you considered bringing all these units? Have you considered spending more money? We'll get you in. But yeah, no, that's good. It is obviously great to build community, all of those good things. And
I've had actually I don't know. I was wondering whether I should even say this. I've had like a bit of the last couple of weeks had a bit of like a hobby epiphany.
Oh yeah.
So I played a few games at Saffron as a spare player because you weren't feeling very well, and obviously played those club games as well. And I can't remember which game it was, but at some point in one of those games, I just had you just kind of stand, you just have this moment where you just like out of body for a sort of a brief period, and I just kind of realised I was just sitting there going, I'm just having an absolute blast with this. I am just enjoying like every moment of this kind of experience, and I actually don't care what the end result is. Um, and like, I've never been like a win at all cost player. I don't think anyone who's played me would describe me as that. Hopefully, but I've always wanted to do well.
Mhm.
And like, if I've lost a game, I've always not got upset, but got to a point where it's like, right, I need to think how I fix this. What do I change in the list? How do I do better?
Sure.
What can I change next time? Oh, what happened there? Or should I have done this? And actually, this time, it I just realised it didn't matter anymore. And I don't know. It feels like I've just kind of made a step that I wasn't expecting into a sort of a new phase of my hobby journey, where I've kind of gone from
You've become a filthy
spend
casual.
filthy casual. In fact, I think I may have done. And I don't know whether that was just because I was playing at Saffron and
Sure.
just having a bit of a laugh, or playing at the club. So I'm going to be really interested to see how I feel when we get to the TSN event in a few weeks. Do I feel the same? Because again, I'm taking my Undead Bretonnians, so it's not a very good list at all.
Yeah.
So I can't. I'm not going to. Even if I was trying to play well, I don't think I could go there expecting a particularly good result. I think hopefully just some natural skill as a player would get me a couple of wins, but I don't know. I haven't played enough against enough good people to like get a practice in that would make that worth it, and it's definitely not with the Undead Bretonnians either. So I'm just going to be learning rules on the fly, and I'm just going to be interested to see whether actually by the end of it that feeling is still the same, and whether I've actually am just a bit of a person that's changed my attitude at some point over the last couple of weeks, and that's now a
Disgusting.
permanent shift as to how I view the game,
I'll have
which
to
is really
replace
exciting.
you.
Yeah, I know.
I was just looking, and I was like, you know what? I'll have to. I'm not booked in for that one. I should grab a ticket. Looks like it's fully sold out. That's very disappointing because I was going to come down
Oh,
and play that one. Never mind. I'll keep an eye out. Maybe I'll be able to snag one as a ticket becomes available.
I was going to say there's not a bit of nepotism or anything that can get you a ticket as a fellow YouTuber.
Not if they're
That's
sold
not
out,
something
but
you YouTubers do.
I will talk to Rob and just say, hey, let me know if a ticket comes available, and I'm not stealing it from someone else on the watch list who was there before me.
Yeah.
I guess that's the trick as well, because I'm sure there's probably plenty of people who would want to go to those. It's good to see that he had a bit of a. I think everyone had a bit lower attendance over the summer, and it was like because obviously the summer here in the UK lasts in terms of summer holidays. It lasts like the better part of 2 months, so it feels
Yeah.
like a long time where you're looking at events that are like not quite sold out or doing a little bit lower numbers, but then
Yeah.
immediately we're out of September and like, oh yep, there we go, that event's fully sold out. Should
Sell some
have
tickets again.
pulled my finger out and booked in earlier. I've forgotten that was a thing.
Yeah, it feels like, especially anyone's got kids and things, where you've got to entertain kids over that sort of long summer.
Sure.
The idea of being able to take a weekend away or even a day away, it can be a bit challenging. But I know, like the last Saffron, I had enough people that it was still a viable event. Like even with like the cost of having to hire a venue and all that sort of stuff, like it still went well, and I'm glad I ran it. I'm glad I didn't sort of give up and
Sure.
refund everybody. It's worth doing, and sometimes you just there's not going to get as many, and that's absolutely fine. It's not as big a game as 40k, so you can't expect just to sell everything out immediately. I
In
don't
fact, it's bigger.
think.
But speaking of your event, we've got a picture of some trophies on the screen, which are really nice.
Hell yeah.
Some lovely Cathayan dragons there.
Yes, which was interesting because no Cathay turned up.
Mm.
So I have a trophy man that makes these trophies for me, and then I spray them when they arrive. And he designed me the little kind of plinth thing on the bottom that has the Saffron logo on it and the name of the event, which is really, really cool. And then we just have a chat over Facebook about what cool thing we should stick on top of the trophy each time around. And this time we decided, due to the likely prevalence of Cathay, I'd stick some Cathay trophies together so that if Cathay came along and just wiped the floor of everybody, then they would at least win some trophies that represented them. And yeah, none of them showed up. This is very much like my attempt at the previous event to make some Lizardmen trophies, because Pip consistently wins trophies at my events, and then he came like fourth or something, so
That's
missed out.
really funny. It's rough. Poor guy. But yeah, no, I like it. They're really nice ones. And then we've got the wooden spoon in the background there, which is
Yeah,
the
everyone
most.
actually prefers the wooden spoon. Everyone's just like, I want to win the wooden spoon.
That's not true. Some people prefer the wooden spoon. I definitely, every time I've gone, I'm happy to walk away with a
Gold
first
one.
place. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking of,
Ian is suggesting a Tomb King theme one.
uh-huh.
Um, Ian is suggesting Tomb King themed trophies for the next ones. I've
You did
got
just
obviously
win.
event in November.
Congratulations, Ian.
So yes, Ian. Yes, I was going to come on to that. Ian is our first ever. This is history has been made in the Saffron Slammers Club because Ian is the first ever Saffron Slammer across either 40k or Old World or any other game that they play to actually win an event. Which is if I could press a button and make a round of applause happen, that's what I'm doing. So Ian, you can just imagine that. So yeah, went 5-0 with his Tomb Kings, which is incredibly exciting, and claimed his trophy, the first gold trophy for the Saffron Cabinet. So good
Yes.
old effort from them. And I remember like in the video we did before the event where we went through like the first round pairings and went through a couple of lists, Ian was saying that his Saffron win rate was absolutely shocking at like 30% or something, and then he just came out and bashed out 100%. Only player to go 5-0 at the weekend, so absolutely crushed it.
All you need. All you need. And then came to TSL Arena the week after that to try and double down, and still had,
Yes.
I think, a decent showing. Not. I didn't get a play in at the end. In the end, which is a shame because I do like playing against Ian. I think, have we played twice now, Ian, or was it just the once? I can't remember. One of the two of those numbers is the amount of times that we've played. But yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't upset to not play against a second Tomb King player with Ushabti. That might have been a little bit too much for my fragile heart. Twice, yes. Both lovely games, and
Yes, he's getting good as Ian as well. He's starting to
obviously he's
crush
won an
people's
event.
dreams. Yes, well, absolutely.
Ian says it's 0% win rate for me. We can't do stats based on such a small sample size, Ian. I'll have to beat you more before we worry. Or you can
Once
beat
you
me,
beat
and then
Nintendo,
we get a real stats sample. Anyway, we're moving on because I'm shit talking too much this evening, and I don't really know why. I think talking to Steve so much over the weekend has ruined me because
just
it
going to
was
start
just.
firing out some abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of it. I gave a lot of it back, so I'm going to blame him for this turn of events. But the next picture we've got, I think, is the winners there. So I guess we'll start there and work backwards.
Yes, yeah, I guess we should. I'll get a bit of an intro to the Saffron Slam. If anyone's new and has been living under an old world rock, I wang on about this quite a lot. But this was our sixth GT or sixth event, sorry, fourth GT at Saffron here in Essex. We had 15 players this weekend, 2,000 points over 1 or 2 days, depending on whether you bought a 1 day or 2 day ticket. We used Match Play Guide as the base. We take 2 match play guide missions, and then we throw in a silly saffron mission that adds something kind of a bit different, bit of a tweak. That's because I really aim to run a slightly more chilled vibe of an event. I think, especially in the UK, I know there's countries across the world who are crying out for the number of events the UK have, but the competitive old world scene pretty well catered for elsewhere in the UK, and I've always wanted to do something a little bit different. What I'm trying to create really is an environment that sits somewhere between like a very casual club game and a tournament. So I want to sit somewhere in that middle, i.e., you're still there having a beer with your mates, but everybody's armies are painted, the terrain looks amazing, and at some point over the course of the weekend, someone takes home a trophy that's got a dragon on it. And so I just try and sit in that level, try and create an environment which just feels a bit more chilled, and as welcoming as possible to newer players or players that wouldn't otherwise feel confident attending a event, because you and I, Ed, we're pretty. Ginger Steve, what's he done?
You're in the winners picture because you won Guess Who on a Saturday evening, which is Steve's obsession with calling you a Guess Who character, which has become,
Because I've
I
got
guess,
glasses and no hair.
yeah, I guess so. Tell you what, sorry, I'm completely going off piste here, but when you come to one of Rob's events, it's related to being recognizable or not recognizable. We go out for dinner on the Saturday evening. We go to GB Cafe, which sounds like a greasy spoon because it used to be,
Yeah.
and they still do like greasy spoon food during the day. But it's also an incredible Malaysian, Japanese, Chinese, a good range of like really solid, just like great cuisine, and it's one of those places that you go in and you look around, you're like, all right, most people here are not white, so I know that the food is great. That's the good part. You go, okay, these people know much better than me whether this is like authentic food. Amazing. But they're lovely people. The food's great. The cost is just a bit lower than it probably should be as well. The portion sizes
Yeah.
are great. I love going there. I keep, every time I go to the TSN Arena for an event, I joke that I come for the food, and then the event's pretty good as well. Anyway, get on really well with the lovely lady who runs the place, and I go to pay on the Saturday evening, and she's looking down the receipt. She's like, why haven't they put your name on? And I sort of lean over and I'm like, oh no, I'm there. She goes, no, that says Edward. I was like, yeah, that's my name. She goes, aren't you called Philip? So yeah, I don't know. And then I mentioned that we all look the same. Not white people, specifically Warhammer players. We're pretty typecast. I've got a little bit of a beard, I've got glasses, and I've got brown hair. We kind of all just do look very similar. So I'm not sure if she's combined me with someone else who's come to one of the events before.
So did Philip eat more or less food than you did?
Who can say? Who can say? But I did only have to pay for my food, which was nice. Anyway, mistaken identity aside, back to what you were saying about Saffron Slam, and I'm gonna butt in here as well. You always bang on about how it's not super competitive. Like I don't think it's like it is or isn't. I don't think that you're doing anything that competitive players should be worried about going and having unbalanced games. Because you're just going with a slightly different rule set with, like, you've put more effort into a narrative thread, and the boards are more cohesive instead of just being like everything is hill and building and wood, which is great, but you've got a little bit more sort of like set terrain. So, don't be put off if you're going, oh, that sounds like, I'm signing up for a narrative event. It's still a tournament. And there's still
No, absolutely. And I think it's an opportunity. What I always say to good players, and same in 40k as well, because I'm trying to do the same thing there. So I say to good players, if you want to come and bring the best list and go as hard as you can, absolutely fine. But be conscious that you'll likely be playing against newer players or players that aren't taking it as seriously.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to play a couple before you pair into other people like that. Alternatively, you can actually take a weekend off effectively and just go, I'm going to do something mad, try something, and it'll work out, won't work out, or I'll just have a few beers and forget about the fact that I'm a good Warhammer player. And I think both those approaches are completely valid. We had the last one, we had a couple of the guys from WTC teams come along with their WTC lists, which obviously don't necessarily work in singles, and they didn't do that well in a singles environment, but they wanted to practice against matchups they hadn't necessarily had practice into. So there's loads of different ways you can approach it if you are a good player, but I would still encourage those to come. And actually, if you are a good player and you're willing to kind of come with that welcoming attitude, I find our newer players learn so much from being exposed to better players, and you can help create the community that grows and thrives and becomes exciting, because I think the game only survives by more people getting involved and new players coming on board and bringing new energy and freshness and keeping things going. And I think we don't want to ever stagnate as a community. So I think anything we can do to get those involved. And despite what everybody's saying on the internet at the moment, I did not ban Cathay. In fact, I have no restrictions whatsoever on what anyone wants to bring. I don't implement anything. And there's lots of different comps going around about how you can only have one balloon or whatever. I generally say bring whatever you want, but ask yourself the question, am I actually going to enjoy playing this, or is my opponent going to enjoy playing against this? And actually, if the answer to either of those questions is no, maybe have a rethink. And so far, touch wood, we've only had 2 events since Cathay came out, and they haven't won either of them. They weren't even present at the second one. So see how we go, I guess. But
yeah, we had less Cathay.
Seems to be working out.
I've seen less Cathay at events than I might have expected. I think they're more going to be polarized towards the bigger events. And I think as well, obviously we've got LGT coming up, which I'm not going to be going to because I didn't get a ticket. And even if one comes available at this point, I think it's so last minute that booking and everything's just going to be sort of like more hassle than it's worth. So I think I'm just going to write off this year, unfortunately. But there's 64 players there. It's a UKTC event, which means the people who know it are coming from 40k. Unfortunately, the balloon lists, the skills from 40k 40k are directly transferable into playing a Cathay gun line, because it's, make sure you're measuring out ranges and just sort of floating around the edges. So that sort of event, I'm expecting to see more Cathay. But the sort of smaller events that, where it's not just everyone's going, I've got to bring specifically Cathay or Cathay counter, have been seeing less of those, which is nice, because I am concerned about just playing against 5 games of Cathay at events. That seems like a bad time for all involved.
And I think that there's always a bit of hobby lag as well, isn't there, in that getting a sort of critical mass of players to have that many balloons painted or that many Jade Warriors painted or whatever. And I think you've probably got people that had kind of pre-prepped or pre-realised that was going to be really good and went for it. And now you're probably in a position where there's people like me who wanted it because it looks amazing, but aren't painting it fast enough to get it out on a tournament yet. I think hopefully in sort of 6 months' time, I'll be in a position where I can get it out on an event. I don't personally like the balloon model, so I'm not buying any, so there won't be any balloons, but there'll be lots of Sentinels and Jade Warriors, which also seem quite good in terms of just their baseline performance. So it'll probably still be quite strong, even though I've done it because it looks cool.
Yeah. So to make sure we're not just going into a Cathay rant this video, because I'm sure there's a time that we can be doing that.
Yeah.
I have another GB Cafe story. So Steve, Ginger Steve, the clue's in the name. If you haven't seen Ginger Steve, he is ginger, and that means he's a pale white man. And when you see pale white men, the stereotype about them is that they can't handle spice. Now, Steve has a pretty high spice tolerance. Lived in Birmingham, so that just on its face is going to tell you a lot. But has had plenty of experience eating spice. Was telling me about it on the Sunday morning as well. However, when we were in GB Cafe, he pointed to the menu, he's like, "Oh, I'll have that one, please." And the lady who was serving him had got a concerned look on her face. And she's like, I don't think you'll like that one. He's like, no, I'll try it. He's like, no, I really don't think you'll like it. He's like, if I don't try it, how will I find out? He's like, it's very spicy. He's like, no, it'll be fine. And then she was like, no, let me show you. I don't think you'll like it. So she got someone, the lady who owns the business's phone, and started flicking through to find a picture of it, and showed him a picture. She's like, look, you're not going to like this. He's like, no, bring me it. It's like, it's really spicy. It's the spiciest thing we do. Yeah. Anyway, brought it out, and it was a big bowl of chilies in oil. Like, literally a bowl of chilies in oil with slices of meat and noodles and stuff in there as well. Or I'm not sure if they were noodles. I didn't have any, because I'm not nuts. Everyone else down at that side of the table tried it. But yeah, he managed to eat, all of the actual edible bit, not just like drinking a bowl of oil, because that would be terrible. And got through it, managed, was fine. It was nice to know that spicy. Didn't even finish my beer. So I was like, oh, fair enough. Saw him the next day. I was like, oh, how are you feeling? Have you done a big poo? I think might have been the question. Something along those lines. It was fine. And then I didn't realize at the time, but basically got halfway through the first game, and then, it hit him internally. And anyone who hasn't had really spicy food knows that it's just not super pleasant coming out on the other end. And I don't know how bad it was. But so
that's screaming.
Moral of the story is, if the person who runs the shop tells you probably don't want to do that, consider it, which is exactly what Steve's just said in the chat there.
I like Rolando in the chat. Steve's new nickname now is Ginger Spice, which I think is brilliant.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
We have so on the Saturday after Saffron, we went out. I go to this local Thai place, because probably similar to GB Cafe in that it's surprisingly cheap for the amount of food that you get, and they're really good with allergies and things like that. So it's actually, I can be pretty confident they're going to be safe with people like nut allergies and stuff like that. And there's normally something, whether you like curry or stir fries or other like steaks and things like that, they have all of it. But anytime anyone asks for something spicy, the lady comes over and she's like, "You've asked for it hot. Would you like it English hot, or would you like it Thai hot?"
Yeah.
And I've seen one person suggest Thai hot, and he was in tears by the end of the evening.
Got to recalculate the spice level that you can go for. Yeah, absolutely. I know my level of spice. I can handle a Rogan Josh, and that's the cap. I like spice, but it's I'm not particularly great at handling it. And I don't like curries in the summer, because I'm already warm, and then I have something spicy, and I'm like, oh well, now I'm just unpleasantly warm. This is not for me. But it's coming up to prime curry season, which is where it's cold as piss outside. Like, actually, you know what? I would like to sweat through my eyeballs just a little bit. Let's warm up that way. Should we go back to talk about Warhammer? As fun as all this?
Let's talk about where did we get on Saffron?
Yeah,
try
had
making chilled events.
your picture there. Yeah, we've got them. Everyone, all of your event winners, and someone who's come all the way from Los Angeles, according to his shirt there.
Yeah, so we've got, I can't remember where everyone came in that, but what do we have? Tom, who is to the right of Ian with the gold trophy, sort of second from the left. To the right of him is Tom, who got most sporting opponent, which is always a very hard award to win.
The only man who's not smiling
nice.
was voted the friendliest. The only man not smiling is the one voted friendliest. I assume you're talking about Tom in the middle there. Is that correct? Middle bottom.
Yes, yeah, at the top.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Next to me, in the saffron shirt. And so he got most sporting, so that's really exciting. There's obviously second and third as well up there with and on the bottom right, I wanted to call out Elijah because Elijah won our wooden spoon, and I had the pleasure of playing Elijah in the last round. And I think if you will bring an army, he had Warriors of Chaos. Nice. That is entirely made up of models that either have frenzy or impetuous, you are probably not going to do that well.
But you might have the best time.
He literally had the best time. His turn one move, I saw basically in every single game, was put everything in the middle. So every single unit in his army was complete. It was all cavalry. It's all Warriors of Chaos on horses and dragons and stuff like that. Shoves it all straight into the middle, so it's all in charge range for turn 2 onwards, and then just goes for it. And as I say, I had the pleasure of playing him in the last round. And out of everyone's that I've played, especially recently with the vampires, he actually came the closest to beating me because basically everything charged on the second turn. And I think sometimes with vampires, if you can just get everything in and just overwhelm them to a point where the resurrection can't keep up, you can actually do quite a lot. So he killed 1,000 points of my army in like one charge. And it cost him a lot to do it though, unfortunately. So I did go on to win the game, but I was like, ooh, okay, like Graveguard were down to like 1 or 2 left, and like both units of skeletons are gone. One of the Terrorgeists is gone. I'm just like, this is starting to get a bit hairy. But yeah, it was absolutely great. And Elijah, again, one of the new players as well. So one of our fresh faces. Well, I think he'd been to one event previous to Saffron. So yeah. The fact that he could come and just have an absolute blast, even though he's playing on the bottom tables and just having a great time, that was really great to see. And yeah, his dad, who's standing above him, came second. He quite a character. He came out with us on Saturday night. Most of us actually went out on Saturday night, which was really good fun. So he had like a big chunk of the group there. A few characters in that group meal, and I just kind of remember walking away from it like, you know, when you've laughed so much your chest hurts. I was like, I can't tell I'm a heart attack, it's the curry, or I've just been laughing. So yeah, I had to kind of have a lie down after that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you were seriously worried about your risk of a heart attack. Given that no one can see you from the neck down, I am just going to shout out that you are the only person I know who goes to tournaments and then either does sometimes a run at lunchtime on the day, talking about you, LGT, where you know, I've seen you just run for lunch because you're weird, or, you know, go for a run on the day of like the Sunday or whatever, if you know, want to fit one in. So I think we were pretty safe in knowing that you weren't having a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, if you will run an event at an athletic centre with a running track, I don't think you should be surprised that some of your players make use of it.
Some of your players,
in between
one
rounds.
of your players, out of the 1,000 plus people there was one person.
I did drag out one of the 6++ guys last time, Dave. He came for a run, and a lot of the other 6++ guys were sitting in the stand watching us run around, shouting abuse every time we ran past, which I very much enjoyed. And yeah, that was good. Anything else on Saffron? I think enjoyed the new missions. That's the second time I run with the new missions. Added baggage trains in this time, which was really cool. Was a bit bored that the baggage trains don't move. So perhaps on a future episode,
that's the rule.
we will. I know it's rubbish though. They're baggage trains. They're supposed to be moving.
No.
I have created. I have created a set of rules for next time where the baggage train is going to start on one side of the board and then they're going to move across over the course of the game. So over the course of 6 turns, they'll go from left hand to right hand side. Which I'm experimenting with.
That you only score at the end.
I feel like they should move.
I fundamentally disagree with this position. We'll argue about this off stream. Let's move on and tell us about the event before you say anything too radical.
Yes, no, it was really good. I think we've kind of touched on most of it, to be fair, but it was a really good time. Ian, after his successful win, he was a real gent. He celebrated his victory by paying off everybody's bar tab on Sunday, which was a pretty legendary move, and got a big round of applause for that, obviously, which meant that Jonathan, one of our other players, he had to come in and one up Ian. So after lunchtime on Sunday, he literally walked back into the hall with like a massive armful just of ice cream.
Nice.
He'd just gone to the local shop and just emptied their freezer of ice cream. So everybody sat down after lunch on Sunday eating ice cream, which meant we were quite late starting round 5. So not everybody managed to finish their 5th games because everybody was too busy eating magnums. But that was the general vibe across the weekend. There's a couple of photos here. Here's Dave and Tom enjoying themselves. I think this was pre Tom's Dwarfs all running away. Dave has discovered that running around with 2 high elf dragons is actually quite good, and he got to the point by the end of the weekend, he's like, if I just hide everything else in my army behind this building and just use my dragons, I do a lot better. I'm not entirely sure what that says about high elves, but Dave worked it out.
It's
and
the elf
himself.
way. Play evasive. 1,000 points that tries not to die and 1,000 points that kills stuff.
Yeah. If you're not on a dragon, go and stand behind those trees and try not to be seen. Don't make any noise. Matt in the chat. There's a scenario in the Orcs and Goblins journal that has the baggage trains moving. So I've had a quick review of that. Oh, the photo on the screen now, that is Ian's dragon. So Ian did also get a little nomination for best army because that dragon is amazing. That's it eating its way through Ben's Black Orcs. Ben was a proud winner of a Saffron Slam wooden spoon at the last event, and I think gloriously finished mid-table this time. So that's a huge improvement for Ben with his Orcs and Goblins. He did go up to 9 fanatics this time, so everyone was unimpressed with the number of fanatics he had. But luckily for Ben, or luckily for Ben's opponents, they never seem to do anything, just crash into each other. So that's fair enough. I think that's Elijah's Chaos Warriors on horses with Frenzy charging into Tom's Dwarfs there.
Very nice.
They just make a mess, which is quite fun.
Alongside
I
more
can't think of
chaos
anything else really.
dwarves.
I guess we've probably got a few weeks. Oh yeah, that's I can't remember whose Beastman that is. Someone's Beastman. It all seems to be Tom's Dwarfs. That's Tom's baggage train. There's some photos of baggage trains. I put a couple of really cool baggage trains in this little set of photos. So maybe skip through till you find those. We had a baggage train competition, obviously, as every event now has to have. That's Ben asking why his goblins run away. This was my favourite baggage train, which was like that's an AOS model. I can't remember what it is, but it's like the undead guy like canoeing down the River Styx. Which is really cool on his floating undead thing. Oh, we have a new member. How exciting.
Thank you to XX Solus XX. Never entirely sure if you pronounce the X's. You know, that classic gamer tag move where you the name you want doesn't exist, so you got to add X's or something to it for emphasis. But thank you very much. And if you are on the Discord, make sure you post on the needs role tab so I can apply it to your Discord name.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess one more thing before we go, in that our next event is a teams tournament, which I'm really excited for because teams is so much fun. Literally, I think anyone that's played 40k at least, and I'm hoping it'll be the same in Old World, will probably say to you that teams is the most fun that you can have when you're playing an event because you're suddenly playing in a collective rather than just individually. Which means you win and lose together. In the case of the Saffron Slammers, when you lose together, and you just have a really good time. We've got one. It's going to be on the 1st and 2nd of November. We only have 2 tickets left to that. So if you would like to come along, then it would be amazing to have you 1st and 2nd of November. Teams of 4, so not massive teams. We're not going quite as big as 40k yet, but we'll get there. There's a couple of people that have messaged me that are struggling to get 4 people. So if you'd like to come and don't mind being part of a team that kind of meets each other for the first time on the day, then please do drop me a message, because there are individuals who really, really want to come but can't quite get the fourth person or the third and fourth person. So, like Nick, one of your coaching guys, he really wants to come, but needs to find at least one or two more friends to come along. And Tom, who came with his ogres and won best army this time around, he's looking for people to come with him as well. So, I'm happy to get a mercenary team together. So, if you can't get 4 of you, then do just drop me a message either on Discord or Facebook or whatever. But you can find out more information about the event at elmerminiatures.com. Just Google the Saffron Slam or Google Elmer Miniatures and it will come up. And yeah, we play over in Essex in southeast England. So it would be lovely to have you in November.
Fantastic.
I think that might be everything about Saffron, mate.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. She does ask, were there any spiders at the event?
I don't think there were, Amy.
Disgraceful behaviour.
It is despicable. I think we had a couple of Orc and Goblins players, but there was a lot of squigs bouncing around. Yeah. A lot of mad blokes with balls and chains. But no, I definitely wasn't any big spiders anyway.
They're playing the wrong list. So Amy, got a shout out. Player for Team Scotland. I do coaching with Amy, and we just did a practice game into one of the High Elf lists, and I lost to an international player who was running an Arachnarok spider. So obviously, everything I've said about Arachnarok spiders are wrong. Oh, yep, confirmed. Spiders banned, like Cathay. Yes, I don't want to say I expected better from you, Amy, because I feel that that's rude. But I did expect better from you. I can't believe you betrayed us like this. All it was a cheap setup for another Cathay ban joke. But yeah,
I'm sorry, Cathay players. You are welcome. Please come, but just don't bring loads of balloons.
Perfect.
Don't listen to the internet hate.
Absolutely. So let's move on to. I've noticed, and I take pictures on my phone. In the last update, it's now not taking pictures when I press the shutter. It's now taking pictures like a half second after I press the shutter, which means that some of these pictures are a little bit blurry, which is a pain. But this is not too blurry, and I didn't notice until I was looking at the pictures after the fact. So here's the full army shot of the list that I took to the TSN arena. If we just quickly go through this event, what I think we'll do is we'll just have a look at some of the pictures of the armies that went. As always, the hobbying standard, incredible. I did see someone had posted a video talking about how nobody's painting their armies, or like nobody's painted their armies well, and they were doing some doom and gloom, some very like really negative stuff about it, which I looked at, I was like, I don't know.
Have they been to a 40k event?
Yeah, like I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe they've seen my armies. But obviously, I'm putting more effort in for this one. This is one that I want to put more time and joy into. So you can't see there, but what I was trying to do was get the bases done. That was the big thing that I needed to get sorted for this event. And yeah, I got some of the bases done. So all of the Pegasus here are on nice bases, which we'll get to in a second. But most of the peasants, in fact, all of the peasants and some of the foot knights are just on normal bases. I didn't have chance to get those there. Steve says poo brown Bretts. He was giving me shit for the color scheme I've gone for. I've just gone for like a collection of like drab browns and yellows for my peasants.
I like the yellow. The yellow's nice.
Yeah, I wanted them to be like pretty like realistic if possible. Let's see if I took any other pictures of them. There's the foot knights. Need a lot more detail on, you know, and I haven't got round to doing any heraldry yet. I want to get the oh, they weren't talking about Old World. My apologies then. If they were talking about 40k, they might be right. I still think, you know, as you say, wild clickbait, it's not exactly what I'm, you know, about, but it's slightly more fair if they're not talking about the the thing. Anyway, yeah, so heraldry, I will be talking about that probably on Thursday as well. I need to finish doing bases and stuff, but then soon I want to start doing heraldry for, as previously mentioned, I will start with asking the Grail Knight tier members what they want on the, you know, which model they want the heraldry on, and then go down through the Longbeards and also on to the Fanatics. I think, given the number of subs I have, I'm very fortunate that people do support me. The Fanatic tier members will make it onto my Men-at-Arms shields, which are really nice big shields here, but that just gives me the quantity of shields that I can still do. And obviously Grail Knights are probably going to end up on Pegasus Knights and characters. That's more realistic as to where they're going to go. I'm
so excited once you get onto this, Ed. This is just like such a good idea. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I am regretting my life choices already, because I'm going to have to paint heraldry. I don't think I'm going to be able to do like lions or stuff on the shield, so it's going to be the colours, and then maybe down the line I can revisit and add more in, but I don't want to spend, 2 hours per shield, and then just get halfway through like 10 of them and not make real progress.
Not
So
finish them.
I
Yeah.
want to try and do like block in all the colors and get it neat and be happy with that. And then from there, if I
You've
have
got
chance
simple.
to go back and revisit, maybe, but if not, it is what it is. At least I'm representing.
You
But
may be able to get it in like a transfer form. Like there's websites that you can do like custom transfer sheets. So
yes,
potentially, if they'll let you do lots of symbols on one transfer sheet, you could get all the symbols put onto a transfer, and that
I'll have to
be
look into
relatively
that.
expensive. But then,
I've never had success with transfers before in my life,
yeah,
so maybe something that I'll have to play around with. But yeah, and there's my Green Knight as well, looking nice and ethereal with his ethereal
mm,
green there. But
happy
yeah,
that there's woods on every board.
happy that there's woods on every board. Had a great time with it. A really fun army to play. Just lots of decision points with Bretonnians, and as always, loads of nice armies to play against. So James was actually my round one opponent. So I was meant to
Mm,
be playing against Nick, international French team captain Nick Boucher, but because James was running late and I had got my ticket for free through Rob through sponsorship that we do for the channel, he said, "Do you mind being the person to have to play into your lunch, so we'll repair you." So Nick got to
yeah,
dodge me, and I don't say that through ego, although I do say that partially through ego. But he was playing Grand Army Bretonnians, which is a horrible matchup to have to play into Exiles, because he can't get his ward save. I don't lose my ward save.
yeah.
I can, because I don't start with it, I can still gain it by overrunning or winning a challenge, yada yada, and I've got cannons to add to it. So I went from. I just want to make that clear that I was not. I was actually quite looking forwards to that that matchup. I thought it was going to be a fun one to start with, but I got to play into Troll Horde, which is always a fun game. I really like playing against James. We played the last event we were at. We were both at. We played round 5, and then he had to play me round 1 as well. And James does. He's a commission painter, does really nice models, as you can see here. The troll hag, I think I got a close up of as well. Just lovely stuff. He was saying he's got another troll hag that he needs to do, but he's going to, no way in hell he's going to paint that net, because he's put loads of detail into the net. He's going to replace
Yeah.
it with like a tree stump or something, so he doesn't have to spend ages painting that piece, which I think is it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, of that.
But yeah, Troll Horde was quite a nice one to start the day off with, because I've got theoretically Killing Blow into a lot of stuff. Multi-wound models getting Killing Blow there. My Killing Blow Baron actually did basically nothing all weekend. It was pretty underwhelming. But at its base, it's still some strength 6 lance attack, so I shouldn't complain too much. Here's I told you, my camera's updated, and I really apologise for the blurry pictures. This is Matt.
What is that?
I have played against Matt before. He has a really nice wood elf army. I'll have to see if I can find a better picture. If I,
Was there an earthquake?
No, it's my phone's updated and it's not taking pictures immediately, and I need to have a look into that. But I did get a closer up picture, which is not blurry, so we can see some details here. Some really nice wild riders, and then some inspired dragons as well. The owl on the left and the dark elf dragon on the right, both converted into being wood elf dragons. Really nice models.
The owl is amazing. I like that.
It's very good, isn't it? Yeah, he does very well with the paint votes, and then we can see a baggage train in the center there. Something else that I need to put effort into. I can't remember who it was. Someone made a recommendation that I do like a miniature Camelot for my baggage train, just like a very clearly a model. I think that would be a fun one. So I'm gonna have a look into what I can do to try and make that happen for my baggage train. Then we've got Kev, the friendliest player in all of Old World, who has gone to probably more events than anyone else I know, playing purely Skaven, having a great time with it.
They look like rats.
They are indeed rats. Despite playing Skaven and thus not winning all that many games, that's not important. Kev will consistently rank well on the sportsmanship votes, which is really nice. It's exactly what you want to see.
Excellent.
And I think there is a TSN Arena rankings where you get points not only for how well you play, but also the soft scores, so sportsmanship and painting. And I assume he's probably quite high up there on the list in terms of, just because he consistently does really well on the sportsmanship votes. Awesome. Steve bought us breakfast. Two of us, me and Rob, because we were all out for breakfast together, and he tried to buy Steve his breakfast, but Kev had already paid. So nice he bought his own breakfast. Uh,
Good old
uh,
Kev.
Absolutely, yeah, and some really nice models in there, and a couple of Hell Pit abominations. Which, given that TSN Arena uses the Renegades pack, I'm quite in favor of seeing, because there's not a lot in Skaven that is good, but there's enough buffs in Renegades to make Hell Pit abominations actually worth taking with like the T6, and they're
At
still
least
too
usable, yeah.
yeah, they're too expensive, but you know what? So's everything good in Skaven, and there's not much good in there, so can't complain too much.
I like his banners. His banners are cool.
Yeah. Oh, this is a really lovely army. So this is Ginger Steve's army as painted by Nick, his commission painter, as partially built by me, and as converted by, I've forgotten the guy's name, but he did some lovely conversions here. You know, the dragon on the left and the one in the center. In fact, I think I've got some closer up pictures. Yeah, just some great conversions and really nice paint jobs from Nick as well. And look at that as a baggage train in the center. Fantastic model.
Oh, that's a baggage train. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Steve was saying that he was going to, every time he beats an opponent, he's going to put some sort of trophy from their army on there. So he'd beaten, but we played round 3, and he'd beaten, it was Bretonnians and someone else, and I can't remember who it was. He had 2 armies, and he was like, oh, I'm going to put another Bretonnian head on there. But alas, charged 2 dragons into the front of a peasant unit, and they broke and fled. Which was really funny, because I was on the back foot at that point. So, yeah.
How did the second dragon not get enough combat res?
You'll have to watch the video on Thursday to find out. I'm going to save that one. That's the tease.
So slick.
But yeah,
so
it was fantastic. It was pretty heartbreaking for Steve. But yeah. Apologies again for these lovely dwarves, because I've blurred half of them somehow. But yeah, really nice dwarf army. I think, if I'm right, this is the dwarf army that won the best painted vote. I could be wrong with that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'd really like to see those, Ed, actually. That's a real shame.
Yeah. I'm not sure where the rest of those pictures have gone. Yeah, I did take more pictures, but I guess they haven't sent. So I guess we will call it that for looking at pictures of armies. There's some really nice Chaos Dwarves over there as well, and some other bits and pieces. I think we may have got all my favourites on the screen already.
Yeah. Well, you won all 5 games, crushed everybody, took a trophy home, jumped out the window. We've already established that. And we'll all hear more exciting about your tactics soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go into detail about that on Thursday. So let's not even talk about it any further. Let's move on instead to talking about the podcast viewer questions. If you are a channel member of Longbeard or above, then not only is there a VIP section where you can, you know, give me shit for coming second at all my events, which is patently false, but you can also ask questions in the Close Order podcast sections channel, and they've gone a bit nuts today. So
I was going to say, have we got any actual questions, or are these all just mad?
Yeah. Some of them are all mad. So we'll start off with Callum. Would you rather be a Jade Lancer or a paid dancer? I've got to say I'm not a dancer, so I guess Jade Lancer for me. Have you got a preference between the two?
If my dancing was good enough to get paid for it, then something's gone seriously wrong with the world. Although I would add, if I'm going to be a Jade Lancer, it'd be good to actually have a lance. That would be quite nice, rather than just a big spear.
Jade Cavalry Spearer.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same. Oh,
in the name, Games Workshop. It's in the name.
Cavalry Spears, are they? They're called Jade Lancers or something like that. Anyway.
Jade Spearers.
But Steve would like to be a paid dancer, which is good to know. I'll keep that in mind, Steve. You know.
Did he dance for you at the weekend when you beat him?
He did not. No.
Oh, disappointing.
And then we've got Ed says that I think everyone is sleeping on the War Sphinx. I'm particularly interested in the initiative stat of 1. Do you agree? Why are you so excited about the War Sphinx? So this is from a conversation I was having early afternoon or in the morning, when it was I was talking about how maybe there's something there with the War Sphinx because it's initiative 1, and then you can take a king with a great weapon who's also initiative 1. And with My Will Be Done, the way that My Will Be Done works, if you take the initiative boost, it doesn't apply to the riders, because it applies to the model, the mount, and any unit is joined, and the riders on top of the War Sphinx don't get the initiative boost. So you can guarantee, well, not guarantee, but you can be likely to strike at initiative 3 through 4 plus whatever you charge, which is at or before the initiative of the riders on the back. So you can just get lots of attacks into a challenge and try and max out combat res in a way that most models can't in the current world. So that was what I was thinking about, basically, which was, absolutely fine. But then I realized that it
That's a
doesn't
very
fly.
elongated way to go. I may get 2 combat res in a challenge now.
Well, it'd be 8 attacks, so it's not bad. It's
Okay,
it's
you could do all right.
Yeah, it's more consistent, and that comes from thinking Bretonnian Lords are Initiative 5, and the Royal Pegasus is Initiative 5 as well. So all weekend when I've been in challenges, I've been like, okay, so I get just another couple of wounds here, another wound here from the Royal Pegasus, so it does
That is
really
handy.
add up. But I had missed that it doesn't have Swift Stride or Fly. So yeah, I think
It doesn't fly. Ugh.
I might still try and cook around it. I think it's really interesting. I don't think it's good, but maybe there's something to do there.
Interesting.
This came from I set myself a goal post England that I was going to try and win have my 4 highest ratings for the Masters at the end of the year. I'd try and win 4 events with 4 different factions. So far, I'm at 3. I've won with Chaos, I've won with High Elves, and I've won with Bretonnians. So it's like, oh, what am I looking at doing? And I was talking about Tomb Kings as a potential option, and that's where the conversation came from. So if you've got any thoughts about which army I should be playing for trying to win my 4th event, feel free to stick them in the comments, because I'm really undecided. I'm not going to do a community vote. And 2 people have already told me to play Skaven, and I will not.
I was going to say that would just end up in Skaven, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Skaven or Lizardmen.
I'm not playing. Maybe I'll look around at Lizardmen, because I think there's maybe stuff that you can do there. I don't know.
It's making it work with Renegade, isn't he? So with Renegade, there's something there.
I've got 4 months to win an event with a 4th army, so I've got some time to mess around. I just don't know what I want to do, and I don't particularly want to play Cathay. That's not the thinking that I'm going with.
Amy says the War Sphinx is a bad Arachnarok, and I'm not sure there's a lot of shade being thrown around there.
I don't disagree. I actually don't disagree. I think that's a very valid point. But if you could put a Tomb King on top of an Arachnarok and it costs less, I'd be more interested in the Arachnarok, I think.
That's a good shout, actually, Ed. Because you've already got most of an Orcs and Goblins army, so you should buy an Arachnarok Spider.
No.
And go and win an event with Orcs and Goblins, but with the caveat you have to have the Arachnarok Spider in all your lists.
Orcs and Goblins are one of the ones on the list. Steve says, I'll lend you my Warriors of Chaos. Appreciate that, Steve. I have already won with Warriors of Chaos, so that's no good to me. Typical. It's like all weekend. You just don't listen to me. You're terrible. Absolutely terrible. Conte says Beastman. Actually, that's not a bad shout. I do like Beastman. Maybe that's
you love casting Viletide, don't you?
I very rarely get to cast Viletide. I've only played Beastmen basically for coaching games, because I think they're a really solid, they're an honest army. They do what they say on the tin, and they've got ranges that you can measure and play around. So I think they're really solid as an army to beat with coaching, because you're like, oh, I know what your charge range is. I know I have to be this far away so I don't get Viletided. But maybe that's something I should look into, actually. That would be solid. Jack Allen's here as well. Good to see you, Jack. Hope you're doing well, brother. Nothing in S tier or A tier, which definitely, I'm not upset at not doing S tier, because I mean that's what realistically Tomb Kings, Bretts, and Cathay, and Vampire counts. So I'm vaguely considering one of the Undead factions, but also it would be nice just to not do that. I haven't really played any fantastic factions up until this point. Warriors of Chaos are pretty good. High Elves are okay. But it's been nice just to take the training weights off a little bit and play some Bretonnians. This army's pretty good, eh?
Crush some fools with some Pegasus Knights.
There were a lot of close games. I had to play into 5 Viletide Beastmen and 12 Ushabti Tomb Kings, which are 2 very difficult matchups for Bretonnians. So I don't feel like I had a... Oh, and Orcs and Goblins with Fanatics. Although less Fanatics than...
blindly charge into those.
Yeah, so there was 3... And then also a full send Warriors of Chaos list that almost beat me. Yeah, so I had to do a decent amount of thinking this weekend. My brain did hurt going from game 2 to 3, because that's when I'd just beaten Beastman, and I was like, oh no, I've got to play another game. I need to sleep instead.
That third game on the Saturday, that's the one that gets people, I think. That's the challenging one. I think games 4 and 5 are fine, because you can't, as long as you've had a decent night's sleep, you're all right. But that third game, that's the killer.
Yeah. Normally I'm okay. Normally I'm playing a faction I've got a lot more reps on. So given that I'd not played all that much Bretonnians before this event, I had to Steve says, "Oh, my game wasn't tight when I had you on the ropes." No, I think I've been very fair and said that you were beating me to start off with. I hope I've conveyed that anyway. That was my intention. But that game was over very quickly because it was going bad. Another teaser: I charged the Warpfire Dragon with my Virtue of Heroism Baron, completely whiffed, lost combat, just rolled horrendously, fled, got run down by the Warpfire Dragon. I was like, "Well, guess that's that." Now I'm gonna have to unfuck my game because that was terrible. So that was fun, and then had to come back from being, my Killing Blow Dragon, my Dragon answer, which is the Killing Blow Baron. After not killing the Warpfire Dragon, and this is like the squishy version of the Baron, but or the heroic Killing Blow character, but it's the killiest. So you go triple lucky heirloom. You've got it in a banner in a unit that has the banner, which is reroll hits against anything with a breath, like a ranged attack. Warpfire Dragon obviously it's a breath weapon. So like I was re-rolling all my hits. I re-rolled up to 3 of my wounds when I didn't wound on the 6s, and it was just not to be. But that's why Old World's fun. You got these moments where like, that was a wild story. I'm gonna remember that one. But yeah, I was really relying on killing it and then overrunning and getting out a charge arc. Instead, I just fled and got caught. I was like, oh, this is difficult.
Oh, my magic sword didn't work. Oh god, get eaten by the dragon.
Yeah. Then Ed did another comment about second place position, so I'll not bother reading that one out. Jordan says, "Why do you hate steam tanks?" I just don't think one's good. I think two's good. I don't think one's good. It's the same for Chaos Dwarves. I wouldn't run a single Iron Demon, but I would run 2 Iron Demons.
Yeah. If I may pat you on the back for a moment, Ed, your Nuln video was excellent. So I would recommend, if anyone hasn't seen the video going through Nuln in the 1.5, I learned a lot, and I don't know anything about Empire. So
now you do.
I think excellent. And yes, I think you make the right. It's very much something that come across from 40k, perhaps, that actually if there's something good, you do need to put more than one of it in, otherwise people just shut it down. So having a steam tank is very easy to play against. Having 2 steam tanks, not so easy to play against, because you can't just lock them down.
Yeah, absolutely. It does make a big difference. And if you go to a 2.6k event, you could play very comfortably a second steam tank. So, something to consider if you're thinking about maybe going to one of the TSN Arena events. Steve, this was the best insult I had all weekend from Steve. I love this one. This was really funny. I had to Google Phil Neville to get the full effect, but he says, as the Phil Neville of International Warhammer, what part of making the team originally surprised you the most? So that, I don't really have an answer for that, but it was really funny that he called me Phil Neville. So he went, yeah, no, we all agree you had an international career, but none of us think you're any good, which I thought was fucking hilarious. So I was going around like, yeah, I'm Phil Neville. And I couldn't quite place him. I Googled Phil Neville. I was looking at him, I was like, he looks familiar.
Tried.
He looks like Gary Neville. Oh, he's the less successful brother. And then I was like, oh, actually, this is pretty accurate, because my brother's just got married and has a house. And here I am, sat in my room talking about Warhammer. So like, oh, you're spot on there. That's all right. I don't feel bad about it. That's, it's funny and accurate. I really like that one. That was
you right.
Yeah. It turns out, if I like you, specifically if you're one of my friends and what you say is funnier than it is rude, I quite like it. You got to just find the balance. I don't really care if it's ruder than it's funny, but I'll tell people the funny thing you said about me if you just make it funny enough. Then he says he feels like he needs to balance it out with something nice for some reason, which I don't know why he's doing that. Seeing as you came first at the weekend and won all 5 games, how much of that would you say was the list you wrote and the army you chose, and how much of that is your experience with the game and your encyclopedia-like knowledge of all the units and game rules? I think
Are you sure that's not directed at me?
No, I do remember that you almost won an event, and then we played in round 5. Not to bring that one back up. But yeah, like I don't know, like someone must have typed on Steve's phone because that's definitely not him leaving that comment. I think I've got an okay knowledge of game rules. I do know a lot of the units, obviously, but it's such a complex game. Like in a lot of games, people will be like, "Oh no, actually, this interaction works this way." I'm like, "All right, sure," or we'll double check, and I definitely still get things wrong. But yeah, that was weirdly nice, and it's a bit uncomfortable to read a compliment from someone like Steve, whose only gear is abuse. Then he
I mean,
says,
there is a massive advantage if you know
"Yes,
what your opponent's army can do.
yeah,
Then you have a huge advantage compared to if they don't know what you can do, because you can tell them at the start of the game, you can tell them there's all your rules and all the things to be aware of and as much as possible, but until you've actually got physical experience playing into that army, stuff's just going to be new to you.
yeah,
Whereas actually if you're in a position where you know everything in terms of what all the other army units can do and where they can score points and what things you've got to be aware of, what you need to avoid, what happens in certain, if you charge me, this happens. If I charge you, this happens. To know the answers to all those questions gives you so much more information to make the right decisions. And again, having all that as like second nature knowledge,
yeah,
you're not having to waste brain time trying to work out what would happen in a certain scenario because you already know, because you've just got the experience having played against lots of armies. And I think that's a massive, massive advantage, which is why I think you've done well with stuff that isn't necessarily the top tier at events, as
sure,
well as obviously I know Bretonnians are really, really good, so it's not necessarily applicable to this weekend, but you have taken stuff that's not as good and done well with it. So that only comes from being able to have that knowledge in your brain.
thank you very much, I appreciate that."
Right.
Yeah, no, that was yeah, again, just weirdly nice. You don't normally say nice things about me either, so that's weird. I think definitely. So I think I've got a good handle on how everything interacts in the game across the board, and definitely doing the coaching has really solidified that, because I've got to walk through processes with people and be like, this is how this matchup works. And while I might understand it, but also then going through and playing it with them, we can break down the intricacies of, which means that I am playing games of all the armies really, and getting to see how they face up into usually their worst matchups, which are the ones that you need to know. Like, you don't need to worry about how triple dragon faces into an army that's just 2 bricks of sword masters or something. It's like, well, you win. Like, we don't need to play that one and work it out. So yeah, if you want to step up your game, then do head over to patreon.com/close order, where I do coaching and can make you more gooder at the game as well. Felt like a natural place to slide in a plug there.
No, well done. Buy a ticket to Saffron's Land, please.
That was very unnatural and forced. Speaking of unnatural and forced, for Lewis from Ginger Steve, do you think that the ban on Cathay at the TSN Arena on Saturday was a response to you having led the way in banning Cathay from the tournament scene? Both TOs who do not want to ban Cathay. I don't think we need to give an answer to that one. I think we can just move on.
Absolutely. This is Saffron Slam leading the way there. Obviously, everyone just follows in my wake.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've misattributed. That was Ed who said that. My apologies, Ed.
Steve wrote a much more horrible
Steve said,
question. That I
if you lost your glasses and they couldn't be replaced, how long would you before you just attach jam jars to your face?
Ed,
out of the two of us, he's picking on specifically one of us for wearing glasses and not the other person who's wearing glasses.
Well, I think my the timescale at which I attach jam jars to my face would be entirely correlated with the number of you that bought tickets to the Saffron Slam on the 1st and 2nd of November, because that would determine how much money I had to buy new glasses. Oh, smooth. Yes.
You're plugging an event that was in the past, so you get half marks. That was okay.
No, so 1st and 2nd of November. It's coming up, mate. Coming up.
Oh, I see.
Only 2 tickets left.
I think I stopped listening to you halfway through. My apologies. Callum says, I got a Warriors of Chaos player stuck on my walls, so I introduced a Cathay player to flush it out.
What?
But then I had a Cathay player stuck on my walls, so I put in a Vampire Counts player, and now I don't know what to do. Should I just hope they freeze in winter? No, absolutely not. As we all know, having seen... Yeah, having seen Game of Thrones before it got terrible, Undead and Winter do go hand in hand. They don't have any muscles or anything to be cold, no nerve endings or anything like that, so the cold's pretty ineffective against them. What you do want to put in there is a Troll Horde player. Now, a Troll Horde player is not going to have a great time into the field, But if they make it into combat, which given that they're in the walls, I'm assuming that the Vampire Counts player hasn't got a lot of distance to get away from. Just the volume of attacks that the Troll Horde player can bring should hopefully, have a little bit of success for you there, I would think. As for getting the Troll Horde player out your walls, any other player.
Fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Just burn the place down. That'll do it. That'll do it. Ed says, when is Ed going to enter a Warhammer cosplay competition? That sentence sounded so silly. I do have to clarify, this is another Ed. And we just happen to have the same name. I don't have multiple personality disorder or something like that.
This is you just talking to yourself now.
Yeah.
We can all just leave. Everyone who's watching, you can just leave now. This is now Ed just going to talk about himself to himself.
Yeah, that's what the pre-recorded videos are.
I'm Ed.
I don't have plans to enter a Warhammer cosplay competition, to be honest. How about you? You got any plans?
I'm not sure. Matthew does refuse to venture into anybody's walls, though, as the only Troll Horde player I know. So Callum might need to find someone else to enter his walls.
That's fair. That's fair. And we do have one actual question from Amy.
Would you believe we've gone all this way and Amy saved us right at the end?
Thank you, Amy. What are both of your opinions on the changes to poison with 1.5? Too much, too little? What would you do differently? Do you want to go?
Too much. I think poison is now not very impactful at all, which is a shame. It was probably too good before. I have a feeling you could probably have left the poison rule as it was and just made the change that only certain numbers of models can shoot large targets. Because I think it was in particular that interaction between TMP jumping a unit around so it could go wherever it wanted on the board, you then being able to fire all 100 bows at your large target, and all those sixes automatically wounding. Out of those three interactions in that rule, I'm not sure rolling a 6 to hit, giving you an auto wound was the most broken part of that. I think they can probably have left that, changed the rest of it, and then everyone would have gone, okay, well, I can only really go for 2 ranks of models. And suddenly, okay, my unit's only 20 strong in terms of archers, at which point you're only going to get 3 6s or 4 6s. So I think they could probably have just made changes to TMP and number of models shooting, and poison would have been fine to stay as it was.
Yeah, I agree. Although I actually think the rumors of poison's death are greatly exaggerated. So if you think about it, it's actually still at least 50% as good as it was. And previously people were taking it to kill, just the biggest things on the planet. Now, there are other things that stop you from doing that. But as poison as a rule, if you're going to, worst case scenario, you're going to be wounding on a 6. You go from wounding on a 6 to wounding on a 4. So instead of wounding 100% of the time with a poison hit, you wound 50% of the time. So it's half as good. And if the toughness is, higher, then if the toughness is lower and the strength difference is different, it's not that bad. Like when you get down to, if you're wounding on 2s, then it's, 5, 6, it's 83% as good as it used to be. And that's still pretty decent. And then you can stack it with Armor Bane and stuff like that you wouldn't have had the benefit of before. Do I think it needed to be nerfed? No. Do I think it's as good? No. But I also don't think it's necessarily terrible, and some places it's worth taking. I might need to reconsider and start looking at poison again on, Hagtree Fetish Hagbane tips for Wood Elves. Maybe that's something I need to reconsider, although I do like True Flight arrows on them.
Yeah, I feel like it's something as well that previously it was basically only really relevant in shooting.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a unit off the top of my head, but it feels like something that would be really useful in combat now, or in a way that it would have had that value previously, but as you say, it hasn't lost enough value in combat to not be useful in that setting as well. So I think there are uses for it, definitely.
Something else is the meta's changed. So previously you would see poison as a direct answer to the large targets that were everywhere. Now there are less large targets and there are more low toughness infantry, so it's less important. So I think that's a big hit to it as well, less than like a rules change. But it all combines to make poison less appealing, but maybe it's not as bad as it seems.
But as you say, with that +2, you're fighting infantry versus infantry, and all those 6s mean you're basically going from wounding that infantry model on 4s to wounding it on 2s. It's not quite automatically wounding, but you're basically going to be automatically wounding out of 5 out of 6 of the times, aren't you? So you don't see a big drop in your efficiency in say a combat scenario when you're fighting other infantry models. So I think it's still just as good there, which is why I think it's got value there now that it would have had before. But as you say, because the meta's changed and more infantry are present, you're going to have more situations where it works.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Amy. Thank you for the actual question, because we didn't have any of those, and it's nice to answer some actual Warhammer questions. Although I do enjoy the off the rails ones as well. I do like seeing those come in every now and then. Every now and then, he said.
Just one or two.
Yeah. Not a member question, but Akonte did ask, speaking of Beastmen, how many harpies can you fit in the 2 competitive lists? Wild Herd Shaman or Doomball blocks with gigantic spawn? I don't know that I'd want to. Harpies are fine. I'm not enamored by them. Like, they're cheap and cheerful, so I'm not upset at putting like a unit in, but I wouldn't bother spending points on too much. There's already like pretty mobile chaff that you can put in. The only sort of real job that I can see them doing that other things can't really do for Beastmen is you have a great way to screen a flying carpet hag tree fetish caster. That is something that nothing else in the list can do comfortably. Or secondary, you can use them to destroy baggage trains in a way that you can't do super cheaply points wise. Yeah, I don't think I'd want more than one unit, or unless I'm running that flying caster, maybe I take a bigger unit and a smaller unit or something like that. The GK says, how many knights is too many knights in knightly orders? I don't think there's an answer for that would make any knightly order player happy. All 3 of you would probably be sad with any answer that I could give you, because knightly order is just not in a great spot.
0.
I like knightly order. I like the rules that it brings. I like the potential for it, but the problem is that you're just polishing, like, if those rules were applied to, say, Warriors of Chaos, where you've got a better base set of rules, I think they would do pretty well. But because what you're putting the rules on top of is so underwhelming at its face value, I think knightly orders just really struggle. It's really difficult to find a reason to put them in and be happy.
They are really cool though, so use them, GK. Just don't expect to win too many games.
But you can just put them into Grand Army as well. That's the thing. You can take a unit of knightly order within your Grand Army, and that's objectively a great thing to do. Like, that's fantastic. Now, I don't know that Grand Army is the best way to play Empire. I think Nuln is really, really solid. But if you want to play a more a more balanced approach, you can go Grand Army with a unit of like Knight of the White Wolf or something else. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I think that takes us to the end there. We've answered all the questions, done plenty of plugs, so I'm not going to bother doing any at the end here. Anything that you want to round us out with